Hey guys, so let's talk autoimmune conditions for women and fatigue. Chronic fatigue is one of the biggest challenges that women face. It interrupts your life, right? Ladies, you can't get out of bed. You're really tired in the evening. You have trouble doing the things that you normally would do or that you like to do. You can't do them anymore. It's hard to exercise. Depression sometimes sets in because when you're tired, you often will feel depressed. So let's talk about what are two of my best tips on how to overcome this chronic fatigue. It is 100% possible. You do not have to take the medications. In fact, the medications sometimes increase your fatigue because they make you more tired. Yes, they are kind of, tamping down some of that inflammation, but one of the side effects is fatigue, and you're already fatigued. So let's talk about how we can improve that fatigue, give you more energy, get you back to the things that you love to do naturally. Let's talk about some of the solutions that you guys can do naturally to improve that chronic fatigue. It's a really, really important part of improving the symptoms of your autoimmune. Yes, I talk about joint pain, but this is sort of going to solve both of those problems. And when you hear it, you'll know why. If you are someone suffering with an autoimmune condition and you want to hear more about how you can improve the conditions of your autoimmune, any autoimmune, whether it be Sjogren's, RA, that's rheumatoid arthritis. You might know somebody. Lupus is a common one. Psoriatic arthritis. That's the one that I had, and I completely have gone into remission and off all my medications. So that's why I'm talking about this. Celiac, Sjogren's is another one. All of the autoimmune conditions, whatever they are, and I know there's so many, I'm not going to mention them all. One of the top three challenges that women have is this chronic fatigue. So let's talk about why first. I'm just going to explain it a little bit. Let me talk about 3 or 4 reasons why fatigue is such a huge issue. So the first one is, as you probably know, an overactive immune system. Your immune system is confused. It's all over the place. It's attacking tissue and cells that it shouldn't be attacking. And that causes it to be sort of overactive, and that drains your energy. Your body's immune system was not meant to be attacking all these things, whether it be skin issues or anything else. It's being overly taxed, basically. Another one is hormonal influences. So as women, and many, many women suffer more than men for sure with autoimmune conditions. And one of the triggers is our active hormones. So estrogen is one of the things that becomes very active. And the fluctuation in the hormones can drain the energy because estrogen affects your immune system in a way that it doesn't, even though men have some estrogen, it doesn't affect their immune system as much as it affects us women. The other thing that an autoimmune condition can do, particularly if you have some GI issues that come with that, IBS and celiac are autoimmune conditions that a lot of people don't know that's an autoimmune condition, but it can cause nutrient deficiencies because your gut is not healthy. And so therefore you are not absorbing nutrients like B12 that give you energy. If you are someone with an autoimmune condition, I actually have something really good for you. If you click the link below this video, first of all, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe, please, and click the like button. But also, I have something special for you. I have a gut check. It's just a checklist, and you will see because sometimes, gut issues don't necessarily come with outer symptoms, or you don't know that that's a gut issue. Headaches, fatigue is actually a gut issue. Not sleeping can be down to your gut issue. Bloating, gas, acid reflux, chronic heartburn. So click the link below this video and you'll see my checklist. You'll get the checklist and you'll kind of rate yourself. I think it's a scale of 1 to 20 or 1 to 25. And you will be able to find out where you are on that scale of gut dysbiosis, what I call gut dysbiosis. So back to the gut health. Oftentimes, women with autoimmune conditions are not absorbing their nutrients. If you're not absorbing nutrients, your body is not getting the energy it needs. So that's why you're feeling fatigued. The other factor is sleep disturbances. When you're in pain, you can't sleep well, right? So then you don't get a good night's sleep. That's kind of an obvious one. And you are fatigued, right? You can't sleep at night. You're taking medications that are disrupting your gut microbiome, but also you're just not getting a good night's sleep, so you're fatigued. That's the most obvious one. Mitochondrial dysfunction. So I'm not going to get too sciencey, but the nutrient deficiencies and your mitochondria are kind of the powerhouse of the cell. It's the battery. It gives you energy. It makes that ATP. And so when you have an autoimmune condition, your immune system is very busy attacking cells and tissue that it shouldn't be attacking. And it can impair mitochondrial function, which will affect your energy. Some people more than others. If you're feeling really fatigued, like you can't get out of bed, you've got to take, a long nap and you're feeling super low energy, that is definitely down to a mitochondrial dysfunction. The other thing, which I alluded to before, is the medication. So the medications definitely will, as a side effect, cause you to be fatigued. And so what we're going to do here is talk about some of the ways that you can improve your energy without medication, without caffeine. Certainly, I'm a fan of caffeine a little bit, not all day long, but you can have some caffeine in the morning. It's got polyphenols. Always buy organic if you're drinking coffee every day. That's my pro tip. However, let's talk now about my 2 top tips that you must do if you have an autoimmune condition. Honestly, these are the best tips I have, and that will improve your energy and perhaps allow you to lower your medication or get off the medication, which is really would be a great thing. Again, I always remind people when they're watching these videos and the things I talk about are for educational and conversational purposes only. I never tell anybody not to take their medications. I am not a doctor. I am not giving medical advice. I am not diagnosing anything. Always talk to your doctor before you make any changes or implement any of the tips that I'm about to tell you to do. So the first thing you want to do is fix your gut. I can't say it in any other way. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, but fixing your gut microbiome, which is why I offer, as an autoimmune gal, I offer that gut check quiz. And if you go below this video, you'll find the link to go take that quiz. You got to fix your gut. There's no 2 ways about it. There's lots of ways to do that. You really have to take a look at what you're eating. Oftentimes, the highest sort of foods that are inflammatory and are destroying the gut are gluten and dairy. So I know it's bad news. There's also a ton of other things like food intolerances, which you need to be tested for, because oftentimes it can be stuff like avocado and zucchini and other things that you wouldn't think would be, inflaming you personally. Obviously, if you have celiac, you're not supposed to be having gluten. And oftentimes people will say to me, I already tested, I don't have celiac, I have psoriatic arthritis, or I have lupus, or I have RA. Why do I have to go off gluten? My doctor told me I'm not allergic to gluten. Gluten in this country is inflammatory, period. It's sprayed with glyphosate if it's not organic, and it is grown to be high gluten. So we were not meant to be growing the way that it's grown in this country. High yield and high gluten gives like bread and the baked goods that gooey, delicious, chewy sort of feeling, which I know is delicious, and I'm not trying to be a fun sucker. But if you're interested in having more energy, if that's a priority for you, these are the things that you just have to do. I'm so sorry to tell you the bad news. And it's actually not that hard. And once you get off of gluten, you become very used to that. Now, I don't go for gluten-free snacks. This is a little bit of a caveat, because gluten-free snacks come with my second tip, which I'm going to talk to you afterwards, which you could probably guess, those middle of the market things. But let's talk about gluten a little bit more for a second. So gluten in this country in the past 50, 60 years has been engineered. You've heard that term before, genetically engineered to be a high yield, high gluten. So the wheat, I keep saying gluten was grown, but you know what I mean, the wheat stalk. So the wheat stalk that has the gluten in it, which is the protein in the wheat, it's actually gliadin. Chat GPT that, go look that up. But the gluten in the gliadin, the wheat used to be a certain height. And now if you look at the comparisons between like the 1930s and 40s and then post World War II, high yield. Okay, so it made it more delicious, and I understand why they did it. Not allowed to do that in Europe, and you're not allowed to spray with glyphosate in Europe. That is illegal. Anything shipped to here, anything grown here, we're allowed to do a whole bunch of other stuff. The farmers are, than they're allowed to do in Europe. That's why people report that they go to Europe, they eat pasta, they eat bread, they eat all kinds of stuff, and they don't don't get sick, even if they have celiac. So the first thing you need to do, ladies, is go off the gluten. And I got some more bad news for you before we get to the good news, is that the gluten hangs around for 30 days. So if you're going to test this out at all, you really need at least 30 days. You really need to go off of gluten for 30. You'll start to feel better after 30 days. 60 days, you'll feel even better. 90 days, ideal. And I mean cold turkey. I don't mean, oh, I have bread every once in a while. I have English muffin. I have this, I have that. And no gluten-free stuff either. It's cold turkey and it's no gluten, and you will feel a lot better. I almost can guarantee it. Now, you may have other food intolerances that you're eating that you don't know. You may have other things, but you will move the needle if you go off that gluten. Or you'll do another thing, which is lower your carbohydrate, and you will lose weight. So if you're watching this and you have 15 or more pounds to lose, you will move that needle a little bit. You should be able to, unless you've got a blood sugar problem or your insulin resistance. That's going to take a little bit longer, a little bit more work. So that's the good news, is that, and I like this being good news because it means you're taking your health into your own hands. I think this whole thing of, being able to kind of look at yourself and see what you can do for yourself is extremely empowering, ladies. You don't have to rely on the pill or the doctor. The second thing I'm going to tell you to do is go off of all packaged foods, that highly palatable, highly processed food in the middle, whether it says keto, snacks, or gluten-free snacks. You need to go cold turkey off of anything in a bag, in a box, or with a barcode. Bags, boxes, and barcodes. That's my second tip. If you get rid of all that, and that also needs to be kind of a 90-day thing, I guarantee you will feel a whole lot better. If you found value in this video, please click the like button. Please share it with a friend or a relative who is suffering with an autoimmune condition and is on too many medications and doesn't want to be on all these medications with side effects. Again, I don't tell anybody not to, but while you're on the meds with the doctor, working with your doctor, as I did, I worked with my doctor, you can make some improvements in your nutrition in order to move the needle and feel better and have more energy. I guarantee you'll feel a lot better if you do those two things. Thanks for listening, guys. And don't forget to click the like button and subscribe.